trust in your timing. The bye week was great for us because we got to heal in some areas. A lot of players feel better today than they did a week ago, and also we were able to work in a lot of different areas that needed to be corrected. Will and Greg will talk to you about those things a little bit later. It's also fun to sit back and watch college football. It's just so crazy this year, and it seems like it's gotten crazy every year. I'm sitting there watching Auburn nearly get beat at Kentucky, and South Carolina beats Alabama, and LSU beats Florida, and it's just absolutely crazy to see what's going on. Florida State loses bad up at Oklahoma, and they go down and kill Miami. So you just can't tell anymore what's going to happen. And I heard Lou Holtz say a couple of weeks ago that one game doesn't mean that you're going to play well the next just because you play one week. So you've got to get ready to play each week, and kids just have to understand that. It was also fun yesterday watching all of our NFL guys play, and especially the 6 that played in the Cowboy-Titans game. That was fun to watch those guys compete, and I didn't know whether I wanted Roy to catch the touchdown and score or Vince to bring them back and score. So I was really confused, and that's why when it gets to our NFL guys, we do not pull for teams. We just pull for the guys that are playing, and hopefully that they play well. Coaches and players aren't happy at where we are right now. Had a tough couple of weeks, and another challenging week this week with Nebraska as we get ready to go to Lincoln. But they worked really, really hard in the open date to try to prepare to get the things better and play a complete game, because that's what we need to do. And also our coaches had a super week in recruiting. They got to go out and see a lot of players and could go out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, so that still helped us. We still haven't played together as a complete team for a game yet. We've gotten pieces together, but we haven't played our best, and that's still out there, and hopefully that's coming. We'll need to do that this weekend. We've been 12-0 after the Oklahoma games, but this is a bigger test than a lot of those weeks. There's been a lot of talk about Nebraska leaving the Big 12 and the possible tension between Texas and Nebraska. No one in our administration has ever come to me and said anything negative about Nebraska. So I really don't feel that tension, and even if there was tension between the two universities, there wouldn't be any of it that would filter down to the coaches of the players, because that's not it's not our deal. It's not what we are interested in and worried about. We're only looking at each other from a standpoint of playing, and we've got great respect for the coaches at Nebraska. They're friends. We have great respect for their team. And we also have great respect for their fans. It's a great place, and it's one of the special places to coach and play in college football. I can't even really think about the fact that we probably won't be going there, especially in the near future, because the games aren't scheduled, and most of our games are scheduled through 2021 or something. So unless it's in this year's championship game, or unless it's in a bowl game, I don't think we'll see Texas and Nebraska playing for a long time. And that's a shame, with two of the winningest programs in college football history, that they will not be matched up. And it's been a fun rivalry and a good rivalry. And I even thought that Nebraska would come back here next year, and that's not going to happen now. So this looks like the last game outside of championship or bowl game for a long time. You have to give their team credit. They've played really well. But people ask why I've always liked Nebraska. I think their fans are great. They're knowledgeable. They love their team. They love football, and they've always been gracious about a great game. And I think that's something that a lot of people could look at and try to follow, because Nebraska's done it right for a long time. There's never a seat available in that stadium. They come early, they stay late, and they love their team. And that's something that you have to give them credit for. And like Coach Royal for me, Coach Osborne's been a role model for me for many years. I've watched him. I've visited with him through the years. He's a great friend, and also a guy that we've patterned a lot of the things that we do today after some of his teams in Lincoln. When you look at You look at the Nebraska team right now, you look at what they did at Washington. That wasn't a win. That was a dominating win. And then the same thing happened the other night at Kansas State. So they've gone on the road and played two really good teams, and they've beaten them badly. And then it scares you to think that Washington beat USC the next week in the last seconds, and Kansas State beat UCLA. So we obviously really have our hands full. As you're looking at Nebraska, it could be the best team in the country by the end of the year. They have improved so much since last year, and Bo Pelini's done just a great job coaching, he and his staff. They took what they had. They had a great defense at midseason last year, and it kept getting better and better. And we saw it in the conference championship game, but they struggled on offense. And now what they've done is brought in Taylor Martinez, number 3, and he had 369 yards himself, 241 yards rushing against Kansas State. So he's done for their offense what Vince did for ours. Now the backs are starting to get a lot more yards. You look at Halu Jr. He has gotten over 100 yards 3 of the last 4 games. And he and Rex Burkhead are both very, very good football players. And now they're one of the best offenses in the country. They're second in the nation in rushing. They're averaging 337 yards a game. They're 7th in total offense, nearly 500 yards a game. They're 9th in scoring with 41.6 points per game. They're 26th with their passing efficiency at 152.6. Versus Kansas State, Nebraska had 4 scoring drives of 5 plays or less. They've had 17 scoring drives of 5 plays for less this year, which shows you just how explosive they really are. On defense, we knew they were good to start the year. They're number 1 in pass efficiency defense. They're number 1 in pass defense. They're 4th in scoring defense, giving up 13 points per game. They're 12th in total defense, giving up 275 yards per game. They're 22nd in third down efficiency at 32%. They're led by number 4, Levante David. He had 16 tackles against Kansas State. He's had 35 tackles over the last 2 weeks, and he's had 60 tackles for the year. Their place kicker and punter, named Alex Henry, he is one of the best in the country also. He's averaging 44 yards per punt. He's made only 4 field goals because that's all they've had to kick. And he's also in a position where he's gotten 28 of 28 extra points. And Niles Paul, number 24, is a great punt returner that we saw return a kick against us, which nearly was a game changer last year. Since 1998, we've played 8 times against Nebraska, and only 2 of the games have been decided by more than 4 points. 6 of the 8 games have been decided by 17 points, or an average of 2.8 points per game. And the 3 in Lincoln have been 9 points difference, and none of them have been more than 4 points. It's also the first time since we had the back-to-back Oklahoma State and Texas Tech top-ranked teams that we've played 2 ranked teams in the top 10 like Oklahoma and Nebraska. I think Oklahoma's 5th or 6th and Nebraska is 5th. John, we practiced this morning. We flexed at 5:45, so we were out there early. It was open. I didn't see any of y'all there. Y'all didn't get the message, Bill? What the? But John Childs, who only played 10 plays last week against Oklahoma, is probable for the game, and Mike Davis is probable as well. So hopefully we can get some of our receivers back. Questions?
Coach, when you face Martinez and this offense, it's so different from what you've seen over the last few weeks. The biggest key, is it just back to the basics? It's different fronts you show them, or is it just stopping Martinez?
I think you have to start with him because he can win the game. And now what's happened is all the other guys are opening up. The 2 running backs that couldn't get free much last year are now getting 100-yard games. They're making big plays. And Martinez can throw it. People aren't talking about his passing efficiency, but he can do both. He's been a game changer for them, and he's shown so much composure as a freshman.